We're still talking football here on the SportsMax Zone. The world's most expensive defender, Harry Maguire, has gone viral after his latest performance for England's national team. Maguire, who stands 6'4" and weighs 220 pounds, he could be a heavyweight boxer. Well, maybe he should have been a heavyweight boxer. Well, he's experiencing a crisis of confidence that has seen him lose his place as a starter at Manchester United. It's been a while since the 29-year-old looked anything like the £80 million player United bought from Leicester City back in 2019. Now, despite warming the bench at United, Maguire played all of England's two recent UEFA Nations League games against Italy and Germany. For the Germany game at Wembley on Monday, the BBC gave Maguire, who was at fault for 2 of Germany's 3 goals, a rating of 2.5 out of 10. Now, this England supporter was left despondent by this Maguire moment at Wembley.
There's the centre-back, Sula. Can you see that on there?
Yeah.
Can you actually see the TV?
Yeah.
There's Sula. Okay, centre-back has only scored 1 goal for Germany, ever. Okay. He gets the ball here, he gives him goals. He's passing into him. He's carried on his run because he wants it back. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the back 4 there. That's James, whoever's playing centre-back, Dyer maybe, Maguire and Shaw. Okay? Sula's about to get a chance, and I'm going to tell you exactly why he's about to get that chance.
Maguire's running there.
Maguire steps out of his position for some reason and leaves a massive gap. Even when Maguire doesn't do a mistake, it's his fault. I'm going to show you now. Keep your eye on Sula. Maguire has now clattered into him for no reason, was never going to get there, ever, because you're not faster than the ball. And now look at that space that Sula can drive into. There he goes. Driving forward. And he gets a chance. And it's all because Maguire steps out. They're going to show you the replay. Okay? Hold on. There. There's Maguire. Why is he making that run? The ball is already at his feet. He's never going to get it. Play. Pause. Again. Play. Pause. What is Maguire doing? What is Maguire? Zoom in on that. What is Maguire doing? Look at the space he has just left. I can't believe this guy is a professional football player. And they won't show this because there is a media agenda. Somebody, probably Man United, has paid the media not to talk about how he is. There's the space. He misses because it's Sula. We're winning the World Cup. Not if he plays. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, after the match, Maguire issued an apology. Here's what he said. Mistakes are a part of the game. I apologise. Great fight back and spirit to get us back into the game by the lads. Take the positives and look forward to Qatar. The tough times will make us stronger. Now, George is a well-documented critic of Maguire. What's your comment on this latest development, George?
I thought the analysis was harsh.
That we just saw from the fan?
Yeah.
Yes.
In principle, well, let me not try to give him any credit. Let me just get straight to it. Maguire, as the graphic showed, as the video showed, was in a back 4 that was in line. There was no parabola. They were dead straight across in the line that you ought to hold, especially if you are playing for offside. So he's in the line, right back, left back to his left, Luke Shaw, his central defensive partner to his right, and then the right back over on the other side. So in the perfect line.
Yes.
He reads Sula's pass. Yeah? He sees the pass. So Sula is continuing the run. But there is a red shirt near Sula. So here's what Maguire sees. Maguire sees the pass. He knows, Lance, that he has cover. So even if he goes, he's going to block. He's going to block the man who Sula passed to. Maguire is going to engage with that man. So that man can't then dribble, or that man then can't lay off or shoot from there. So he's stepping out to him. Because sometimes we criticize defenders for not engaging. You remember Virgil van Dijk and the famous hand behind the back in the penalty box at Old Trafford? Yeah. Maguire reads. So he says, oh, there's the pass. So he goes for, because he's expecting that Sula's run forward will be matched by one of the midfielders who who is in the vicinity that Nicolas Sula is running forward from when he made that pass to feet and then ran on to the end of it. And Maguire says, you know what? I can step forward because there are 3 defenders in the line that I have just left, that in the event there is a run into the box, one of those 3 can pick up. That's how football goes. You know, this is how you, it's not classic, but this is how you pass on a man in football. You've heard that phrase before.
Yes,
you pass on the man. Maguire step forward to intercept, because guess what? Are you saying that Maguire could not have one possession there? Because guess what? If Maguire wins possession there, Maguire then starts a counter-attack for England with Nicolas Sula out of position, caught high in England's half.
I think what the fan was saying, though, that based on where he was positioned and his fellow defenders were, there was a lot of space. And because the attacking play was coming toward the 18-yard, it was a risky play for Maguire to choose to go forward at that point. Because his defensive support to his right and his left weren't that close.
But here's the thing.
Weren't that close.
But here's the thing. I hear that. That's a fair point.
Yes.
But why is it that Nicolas Sula had to rush his shot? Because the same men who Harry Maguire left behind in the line, they closed him down and caused him to force and hurry his action. So there are many things to slate Maguire for. And in any game, you can slow things down, replay film, and point out an error that someone has made. So I think he's harsh here.
Actually shocking to hear George defending Maguire, but let's kick on. Now, ahead of the Germany game, Italy's Euro 2020 winning skipper Giorgio Chiellini sympathized with Maguire. Here's what he said. I am sad for Maguire's situation because he is a good player. They require too much of him. Just because they paid £80 million for him, he has to be the best in the world every match. It's not right. The value of the market is dependent on many aspects you can't control. It's not your fault. Him and John Stones are a good duo. Okay, Maguire may be not Rio Ferdinand, but he's good enough. With this situation, it's not helping England to do the best. If you want to win the World Cup, it's impossible to do it with some problems in the key players. And for sure, Maguire is one of the key players in the team. George, England's manager Gareth Southgate has a decision to make. Ten Hag is making some decisions on behalf of Man United, that is shifting Maguire away from a starting spot. Will Southgate get there?
First of all, Ten Hag's Manchester United play a different way from Gareth Southgate's England. That's a plus in Maguire's favour because he can't play the Ten Hag system right now at the start. There's a man ahead of him, well, 2, Martinez and Varane. The way England plays, you need a player like Maguire in it. And when you evaluate Maguire's performances for Manchester United, he deserves to be on the bench. When you evaluate Maguire's performances for England, he deserves to start. Because the characteristics of the other defenders, I mean, people make a lot of noise about Fikayo Tomori, who is an Englishman who plays in Serie A with the defending champions AC Milan, and say, well, he's the most informed defender. But he's the most informed defender in club football at an inferior league to Serie A, to the Premier League Serie A. And people are recommending him by virtue of the strength of his club form in an inferior league. Yeah? So you can't tell me that Tomori ought to be starting because he's playing well in Italy. Yes. And Maguire struggles for Manchester United and has struggled, so he shouldn't play here. Coaches, cast your mind back, Lance, to say 1998 and look at all the World Cup winners from that time to now. All of those squads, every single one of those squads, had difficulties going into the World Cup, the eventual champions. Nobody saw France as the winners when France 98 started. Neither you nor me. Yeah?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and there were issues about who was picked and so forth. 2002, the Brazil squad that Big Phil barely scraped through with in qualifying, nobody expected it to do what it did. So I'm saying that you'll always have these issues at World Cups, and national team managers, more than club managers, always have a core of players that they are loyal to. It is up to the player to let that manager down. And Gareth Southgate, who it's reported, Lance, spent a lot of time with Maguire talking to him in the tunnel at Wembley after the game, pointing out things to him and saying, what I want from you, is having a big challenge on his hand, man managing. So he has to be loyal to Maguire and a few others who've done well for him since he took this job as England manager. And that's the benefit of what you're seeing now, which is why Maguire gets into the England team.
Yeah, I just think there is a question of confidence with Maguire at the moment, though. With weeks ahead of the World Cup, you don't want to have such a key player in a central defensive position that is short on confidence on the biggest stage. And you talked about Southgate talking to him one-on-one and so on. I hope he tries to get his confidence up, because if his confidence isn't there, it will reflect in the game.
Yeah, and Gary never made a point that when he was struggling after being, as we say in this part of the week, after being piled by Edmundo for Vasco da Gama in the first game of that Club World Cup that Manchester United went to, and they lost that game, he said his confidence was shattered after that, and he went to see a psychologist, and he's recommended one for Maguire as well. The last point I'll make on the video that we saw with the fan analysis. In football, defending is not about winning the ball, as you know. Defending is about delaying the offensive action or causing the attacker to change their minds. Maguire's advance from the back line to engage the player that Nicolas Sule passed to, that advance caused that player to pass to Sula rather than control and up to do something else. So we might say, oh, a chance was created because he went out and so forth. But he caused the player to change his mind about what he wanted to do. One, or at the worst case scenario, he caused the player to do something that he otherwise wouldn't have done had he more time in the space that he was when he collected the ball. Simple as that.
Yeah. Break time now. Back with more on The Zone after this.